there are some major like issues that I would have with every movie and the conveniences thereof. But if you're just okay with just 80s turn your brain off sort of stuff and martial arts and Chuck Norris, and yeah, you know what? You're having a great freaking time with a movie like this for sure. So
Chuck Norris is J.J. McQuade, a lone wolf in a tough world. Excuse me. He never starts a fight, but he always finishes them.
As you can see, mine's bigger.
Mine's loaded.
A modern-day marshal in an almighty showdown with David Carradine and Barbara Carrera.
Waited a long time for this.
Sharp presents Chuck Norris in Lone Wolf McQuade, 8:30 Saturday on Channel 7.
Chuck Norris, Karate Commandos.
Break it up, crack it down, fight forces of evil wherever they're found.
Figures sold separately.
Location Tibet. Assignment recover stolen microchip. Protecting it was Super Ninja.
Hi-ya!
First, Chemo stood up to him
Hi-ya!
and was downed. Then Reed Smith flew in
Hi-ya!
and was grounded. But now it's his karate against mine.
Hi-ya!
Chuck Norris, Karate Commandos. Chuck Norris, Super Ninja, Reed Smith, Chemo, and other figures sold separately. New from Kenner.
all right, folks, welcome. First time watch. Yes, that's right. Lone Wolf McQuade, a Chuck Norris movie, which, by the way, Ironcaster, thanks for picking this one. I don't think I've officially reviewed a Chuck Norris film on my channel. We've talked Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris has come up many times, many ways, but I don't think I've actually done like a formalized review, rewatch, reaction type of thing. And I have never seen Lone Wolf McQuade. I don't know. I've heard of it, and I've seen the box with him and David Carradine. Don't know how I just sort of like fell to the side, but it sure did. And here you go. Leave it to you to pull something front and center like this. So yeah, there you go, man. Thanks for doing this.
Hey, no problem. It's one of those things where it's got one of those names that just sticks out in your mind. It's a good choice of a name. Plus, with all the talk of Chuck Norris, all the Chuck Norris jokes over the years, it was only a matter of time until we finally did something involving the high kicking hero.
But you haven't seen this either, right? This was the first time watch for you as well.
I had just gotten around to seeing this about a month or two ago for the first time,
Okay.
so this is still relatively fresh in my mind from that first watching. But
Okay.
at the end of the day, it is ultimately just like sort of a kind of spaghetti western type story with this outlaw hero who has his own way of doing things, out to stop the bad guys.
Well, 100% spaghetti western, precursor to Walker, Texas Ranger. Chuck Norris trying to evolve his image, so it's definitely much a vanity project. I will say, first impressions were very interesting, right? Because he's all grimy and dirty and edgy, looking through this little scope, scoping out this basically horse thieves wrangling in this area, and they're going to get to jump on this, and turns into a bloody shootout, and what he's going to do and how he's going to do it. And just, everything about this movie was just so macho, machismo, and over the top. Where it's just like, okay, what on earth? The 80s tropes and the 80s silliness are definitely there as well. Yeah, Lone Wolf is definitely a fun one. McQuade is a Texas Ranger. Nickname is JJ, Jim. He is a dude that's not going to follow the rules as one might expect from 80s movies. He is going to get into it with his captain. He is going to, not be paying attention or wanting to follow the rules. Doesn't want to have a partner. Pick your trope. Pick your gag. It's all good. You're gonna have fun. It is completely silly. You're having a good time, Ironcaster. You have to be laughing at the silliness and also the fun, and just, yeah.
There's so many of these little tropes throughout it. Like, again, Lone Wolf McQuade, down to the point where he has like this wolf pup as a dog. Mm-hmm. As if it wasn't laid on thick enough. We got to make sure we check it in every way possible to indicate this. Like, he doesn't have a woman around, so don't go cleaning up his house.
I just thought I'd clean up a bit.
Lady, if I want a maid, I'll hire one.
Chip, you're a hopeless slob.
Where's my beer?
In the garbage.
Oh, she's so obsessed with cleaning, and then later on, they're like making out with the garden hose, and I'm like, she keeps her finger on the hose. By the way, folks, just so you know, you're gonna make out a little bit. We're gonna like just, it's completely nuts.
The innuendo wasn't overt enough.
Yeah, it was something. But yeah, Lone Wolf McQuade. It is. It feels also like fodder for riff tracks because there are so many moments that are just silly enough that, you know, look at all the explosions around him without a shirt on. The red bandana is there. Yeah. So he's systematically getting himself into a deeper and deeper situation. So it starts with the horse thieves. And then it kind of puts him, which he ends up saving the life of one of the Mexican officers. And then he's basically told that kid's going to basically be his partner. He's like, no, thank you. I work alone, literally, hence the name Lone Wolf. And then systematically he's at this place, and this involves his daughter. And then he's super close to his daughter, so things go sideways there. So he's little by little being pulled into the story that we're just going to get.
Did you happen to get any little vibes of Kung Fury out of this?
It has a lot of Kung Fury. It just has all of the, it just has a lot of just all the silliest 80s Commando, Kung Fury, you know, uber low budget type stuff. Poor David Carradine, he's the other guy. And again, I grew up on David Carradine. And I know this is hot take. Sorry. My mom was obsessed with Kung Fu. We'd watch Kung Fu all the time. Kung Fu was always on. I grew up with Grasshopper. Okay. Didn't grow up with Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris was out there, always been out there, always part of the world and the nature of things, but wasn't a huge thing for me, and didn't see a lot of his movies in the theater, and just kind of have casually enjoyed Chuck Norris over the years. And David Carradine, he's literally the gun to the face cliche. He's like, well, it's all about trust. And of course he's there to execute them because, you know, he's taking advantage of everybody in his movie.
Would you like to counter it, Senor Wilkes?
Trust is the most important thing in our business.
Have the plane loaded at once. I'm in a hurry to get back to Havana, Senor Wilkes.
Quick enough?
But he and Chuck Norris had sort of coordinated to do this movie together so they could basically have this fight together. And it starts early in the movie where he's taking advantage of the love interest, Barbara Carrera's character, and, you know, basically throwing people around too much, making a scene, creating a kerfluffle, if you will, and kind of tries to entice the Ranger into fisticuffs. And she's like, no, you're messing up my party, man. But then she goes off and she's with McQuade. She's quite a slut, by the way. Ironcaster. I'm being perfectly honest. I don't care if her husband got killed or not. She's on her third or fourth dude. Like, she's quite a slut. Like, I was like, wow, okay, girl. Try to pick the high road if you want. Don't believe you.
It was the 80s.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, that works. That works. In the first phase of things, is the party fight, and it just draws him closer to his old mentor, if you will, and then the young buck who is going to become his partner. Who, listen, you know what? And if anything else, this actor, his name is Robert Beltran. Why do I recognize his name? What did Robert Beltran go on to do? Let's see. Is he a Trekkie? Is he a Trek guy? He's been a Trek, right? I think he's a Trek guy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, he was in Star Trek, Voyager.
Yeah, he's a Trek guy. Hey man, he got to shoot freaking launchers, man. He's shooting freaking missile launchers, shoulder launchers, man. It's a So, yeah, we get a little bit shoulder 80s cliches. 80s cliches. So.
We got some surplus military equipment. Let's shoot a movie.
Yeah. I was trying to get a shot of the final sequence, though. The final shot is the best because we have sort of like this evolution of the story of them trying to figure everything out. Oh, and we can't ignore 80s cliches of the overuse of Uzis and Uzis that miss. Uzis will shoot out the feet around you, above your head, sideways, everywhere, and then a guy will walk up with a 45 and hit you between the eyes. Like, it's completely crazy.
Oh, Uzis were just the nunchuck of guns in the 80s.
Oh, it's worse than nunchucks. It's insane. Uzis are everywhere. And I think this is one of the reasons that in like real life politics, people think of guns and they think of Uzis. Like, it's all they think of. They don't think of like an actual rifle or a rifle with they see things like that. But yeah, no matter what the situation, Chuck Norris is going to navigate through it with some class, with some dignity, always being, the guy that's, taking the high road. He's trying to do the right thing. He's getting the hot girl. He's still a good dad. All of those things are working out. But he's in harm's way, and increasingly he's further and further down this rabbit hole into the complexity of the situation that David Carradine's running with guns. He brings in there is quite a sort of like an error in the film where they refer to him in one scene as an FBI agent, but then he's an ATF agent. And there's two or three of these. They're all FBI/ATF when you need them to be. There's two or three characters, but there's one that sticks around. He calls himself. He corrects you at home, Ironcaster. Make sure you know he's not the token Negro. Just so you know, he says the word "I don't," but I laughed out loud that they snuck this into a Chuck Norris movie without. No one's blinking an eye, by the way. So like a PG, that by the way had no bearing on it getting a PG rating or not. The Norris fought to make sure it wouldn't be rated R. There was no PG-13 back then. So yeah, got a PG rating.
Pretty quiet for a bit.
See, I'm not the token nigga. When it comes to following the rules,
get to the point.
It's like looking in a mirror, only not.
Token Negro. I laughed out loud, like, holy crap. Yeah, good stuff.
It got a PG despite all the violence, all the gunshots, all the explosions. Don't worry, kids. It's safe. Chuck Norris is in it. Chuck Norris just sent the MPAA a photo of himself, and they knew not to give it an R rating.
Yeah, he just said, listen, don't you know me? Don't you know martial arts? Don't you know what I'm into? We're not about violence. I'm like, all the movie is about changing persona and the public image. So
you're getting to one of my favorite characters here. Well, one of my favorite bits, really.
I wouldn't be remiss if I didn't point out William Sanderson. William Sanderson always is this great version of like the snivelly, whiny guy that has to give you up, from Blade Runner to Deadwood. Yep, he's here too as Snow. And yeah, the Uzi shoots around him, never him.
Well,
you gotta love Ironcaster.
Not only that, he's basically playing this hippie who gets captured by LQ Jones, playing this character Dakota, who's basically just Mark Twain. So it's like Mark Twain with an Uzi, like keeping this freaking hippie captive who's gonna sell them all out.
I borrow that contraption.
And he is
freaking great.
One of the more, and that character Dakota is one of the more charismatic parts of this movie, where he's just this old guy, hair's like all white, but he's not. He knows how to throw a mean punch, and he's like downing beers left and right. He's gonna woo the ladies if you're not careful. Just fantastic character. He works as a great mentor to Chuck Norris's character. We get his retirement from the Texas Rangers, so he's just a great addition to the movie that to kind of follow that flow of the hero's journey sort of thing. He's the mentor that has to go away. Unfortunately.
Sure. Yeah. That was sadly the dispatch and all of that from the David Carradine attack is just too quick and off camera too much, but it's okay. I don't even have a photo or something to pull up. This ultimate mastermind who was betrayed by David Carradine's character is quite so shocking that I told Ironcaster I laughed out loud. So I don't even know what to say. It's pronounced Falcone in the movie. It's just Falcon. It is a paralyzed or at least some sort of quadriplegic midget who rolls onto camera and like he's into like arcade games as his cover. So, and then he has to leave one scene and he literally has like a secret passage door that rotates as he leaves. And Chuck Norris is just left standing there like, what the heck just happened? And I'm like, dude, the midget just bailed on you, man.
If I find out you're playing, I'm gonna have your little ass.
Well, Ranger, it's been a pleasure having a chat with you, but I'm afraid I must go.
Okay, so this has an open end, and I'm thinking that we need to write this into our multiverse story where it's in the same universe as like Commando and Predator and stuff. Like, because they're, that whole thing with the director and they use the same references and whatever. It's like the little guy just left on this. He's just left in Mexico to fend for himself. I'm like, no, he needs to resurface as a mastermind villain in some sort of future Predator / Commando universe type film because I laughed at the absurdity. It felt like a midget version of like Dr. No, of like, that kind of Blofeld kind of thing or something. Like it feels like that's what we're getting. I don't know. So
yeah, his character just comes out of nowhere, and he's this little mastermind who's really trying to take advantage and leverage Chuck Norris to go take out David Carradine, who's really being a thorn in his side and getting in the way of his empire. So it's like it's one bad guy wanting to double cross another bad guy, and you have Chuck Norris caught in the middle between these two.
Yeah, he's already betrayed David Carradine's character, so then once it goes even further sideways, he's like, all right, well, I'll tell you the details. You go down there, just save my product, and I'm good. And then, of course, Chuck Norris isn't going to do that. Chuck Norris is going to do what's right because he's the hero of the story. He's not going to betray his ethics too. So he's only interested in betraying the midget. So, dude, this movie, yeah, you made a Kung Fury reference, so I can try to remember to put a link in the description for the Kung Fury Talk Hard that we did. It is not nearly as absurd as Kung Fury, but you feel like you're getting, Chuck Norris cliches, bare-chested, yeah.
You get a sense that Lone Wolf McQuade was one of those movies that sort of helped inspire that movie.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I think it definitely inspires Walker, Texas Ranger. It definitely changed the Chuck Norris imagery some. It definitely just fulfills all of the 80s checkboxes of, like I said, the Commando cliches, all of the Stallone cliches. Chuck Norris they've gone out of their way to fabricate a script to have all of these absurd things that happen. I mean, obviously this hot model it's so over the top.
Don't forget, Chuck Norris gets buried alive and has to cool himself down with a nice cool beer.
So, okay, we have to back up because they set it up during, hey, follow me, kid, because he's still trying to feel his way out with this kid. He literally pulls like a Mad Max where he has like special switches on his truck that allow him to just have ridiculous acceleration without the truck blowing up. So that's been set up. So
You cannot hurt me, Ranger. I've got superchargers.
Oh, yeah? Supercharge this.
Power in the truck comes into play. He pushes the FBI/ATF guy through the desert at one point because their normal truck couldn't handle it. And then whenever things go right and he actually gets shot and captured, he's buried alive in the truck because, we do that now. We just don't, it's almost like, oh, I know what would be good for him. We don't want to just throw him into a pit of sharks. Make sure those sharks also have lasers. No, we don't want to just shoot him. We're going to put him in a hole, and then we're going to put him in his truck in the hole. Well, he wakes up enough or he's conscious enough to, oh, I'm going to have a beer. And then he just flips the switches and drives his truck out of the freaking hole, man. It's, dude.
Put him in it.
So, yes, Riff Tracks Mystery Science Theater feel not cheap like Kung Fury was made on like shoestring money. This actually is a Hollywood film of some persuasion. But yeah, if you love that type of absurdity, you're into that type of shenanigans, I think you'd have a good time with this movie for sure. Yeah, that was my take on it.
The one thing I want is to go maybe rewatch this for Talk Hard, and then get Squeaka to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, it needs to be on the radar like in a couple years or something. It needs to be on that, pretty far out there a little bit, but yeah. So for me, I'm going to still have to be pretty honest about the film. For me, it's still kind of a 2. I might go 2.5. It actually has a story, and it actually has a story arc. It's just absurd in every possible way along the way. Even when the daughter's kidnapped, she's in her quarter. She's literally just laying on a couch.
Mm-hmm.
She's not tied up. She's not under any duress. And actually, even in the sense of urgency with Chuck Norris, they have time where there's the scene with the girl where she's just at the house cleaning, so they can just have like the Naked Gun sequence where they just to music, they're just going to live life together for a minute, make out with the garden hose, and so there are some major like issues that I would have with every movie and the conveniences thereof. But if you're just okay with just 80s turn your brain off sort of stuff and martial arts and Chuck Norris, and yeah, you know what? You're having a great freaking time with a movie like this for sure. So yeah, that's how I feel about it.
It is a Saturday afternoon movie if there ever was one.
Yeah, it definitely feels like Chuck Norris meets Kung Fu Theater. Like he just feels like that type of stuff. So yeah, that's it. Fisticuffs. Ironcaster definitely broke me in. And he had just seen this. So it wasn't like he's only watched it twice, I believe. You said you've watched it twice, right?
Yep. Yeah, thereabouts. This is one I will happily throw on again, especially if I just want some background noise. This is one I could throw on. You don't have to really. You can kind of turn your brain off and kind of enjoy it for what it is. Maybe just kind of watch some random clips out of order, or kind of catch it in the background while you're doing laundry. Solid.
I'm watching the midget scenes. When when they're at the horse track and he rolls up, and then at the end when Norris shows up in his office and he like rides his little scooter up the little ramp and then disappears I laughed so hard that they went through. I don't know whether. So I didn't do any research. So I'm assuming they have a borrowed set from someone else with the rotating wall, because it just made that's completely crazy. But yeah, let's see. Bare chested men, bare knuckle fighting, all the cliches, like you say, the mentor and the hot girl and the kidnapped daughter. I mean, just keep going. And then the kung fu battle at the end, the martial arts fighting with Grasshopper. Yeah, and Grasshopper, David Carradine can say he had the coolest fight ever in an 80s sweater, because he keeps his sweater on while he's doing this fight. it is a cheesy, cheeky 80s sweater the whole time. I laugh. It's great.
All in all, I would say it is easily a 2.5-star movie, like 2 to 2.5. That's I'm on par with you there. Throw it on, have some laughs, kind of enjoy it, but it's one that you won't exactly be taken away with you as some deep, meaningful film. You just want to see Chuck Norris kick some dudes in the face and, I don't know, use a car, drive a car out of being buried alive. And also
have a good time with it.
And Mark Twain holding a hippie hostage.
Yeah, just shooting the Uzi around him, but never hitting him. Just like, okay. And then just when we cut back to him, he's just tied a kitchen chair, not trying to get away as they play cards. What is happening to me? But yeah, fun time to be had for a movie that is just silly fun, and that's sometimes the best thing. So yeah, Lone Wolf McQuade. There you go, folks. Yeah, check out Ironcaster. His stuff's in the description. He's doing great. Got great shows. If you're into, role play gaming, you're into Gundam, you're into mechs, you're into just all that kind of stuff. He's with me every Tuesday on Talk Hard. We have all sorts of great stuff, man. Just tabletop stuff. It's a lot of fun stuff, man. And yeah, man, great to have you do this, man. Glad that we were able to get together and work it out.
Happy to be here. And if anytime I can work it out with the calendar, the schedule, I'll happily be here. We'll find another cheesy movie or something to talk about.
Oh, I know. I try to recommend good movies. For those of you out there wondering how we ended up here, trust me, there was a lot of like serious recommendations, and then there was like the nonsense that he tried to slide in, and I said no to the nonsense. We kind of met in the middle somewhere. I think we did a pretty good job meeting in the middle. I think we met a pretty good job in the middle. So that's all I'm going to say. Let you guys out there figure out what we're doing. But yeah, it's good stuff. So, folks, listen. Thanks for watching. Well, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Oh, say maybe next time maybe next time we'll do another Chuck Norris movie like Invasion USA, or we'll watch Attack of the Killer Donuts.
I'm not watching Attack of the Killer Donuts. Invasion USA has come up more than once from different people, so that one's going to be hard to dodge. But we'll see. We'll see. I have not seen that. I don't think I've seen that one either. So, all right, listen, folks. Be blessed. Talk hard. Till next time. I am Pops.
So now the wolf has a wolf pack. Lone Wolf McQuade, starring Chuck Norris, David Carradine, Barbara Carrera, and Leon Isaac Kennedy.